Ladies and gentlemen, you know what to do, Prague. Make some noise, get on your feet, and give it up for the one, the only, Michael J. Saylor!
It's lovely to see the group. I had the opportunity to take selfies with about 400 of you this afternoon. And it was an honor. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming. Today I'm very excited to present time and the engineering of generational wealth. For those of you who were in Nashville last July, and I want to take you back 11 months. So this was the status of the macro economy in July. Bitcoin was appreciating 55%. It was trouncing the NASDAQ and the S&P. Gold was a laggard. Silver was lame, bonds were losers. Bitcoin was $1 trillion asset class. It was just less than 0.1% of the wealth in the world. But we could see that something was going to change. I presented a forecast in July. And I said, I really think my base case is Bitcoin is going to grow 29% a year for the next 21 years. And that's going to cause it to appreciate to $13 million Bitcoin. We had a macro forecast, and that meant that Bitcoin was growing to be 7% of all global assets. And it was growing to be its own asset class. And you can see here, $280 trillion, but the preeminent monetary asset in the world. This has been extraordinary. The White House has embraced Bitcoin. This is an extraordinary development. We didn't anticipate this. We hoped that we would get a favorable administration, and we hope we get support, and we had this inkling, but November 5th brought a sea change in politics, and all this is an amazing development. The new administration, J.D. Vance, pro-Bitcoin, Robert F. Kennedy, pro-Bitcoin, Tulsi Gabbard, pro-Bitcoin, Kelly Loeffler, pro-Bitcoin, Paul Atkins, pro-Bitcoin, Brian Kentez, pro-Bitcoin, Scott Bissett, pro-Bitcoin, David Sachs, a new position, cabinet-level position, not just pro-Bitcoin, a cabinet member that would go on television and say Bitcoin is the one decentralized crypto network in the world, it is special, it is the digital commodity. Right? The one thing that we've all known, but a cabinet member in the United States government says it. He said it in March of this year. Howard Lutnick, pro-Bitcoin. It started in January of last year, but it accelerated after July. Public companies. My company was the first public company to adopt Bitcoin. People thought we were crazy. I thought we were late. Like some of you, companies are racing to get into the Bitcoin 100. Used to be, we thought, oh, it'd be great, there's 10 Bitcoin companies and 20. Now there's 100. Now there's more than 100. Now we're all going to compete to move up the leaderboard. Let the games begin. Bitcoin wasn't an institutional asset. It wasn't a coalition that's come together in support of Bitcoin. And I think a realization that the entire industry needs Bitcoin as their ethically sound, economically sound, technically sound foundation if they're to have any future. And I think you guys should be very, very proud of that development. 12 months, what's going on? Bitcoin is still running harder than it has been, up 61%. The Magnificent Seven and the S&P are underperforming. They're struggling. The tariff wars, the trade wars have been a challenge for them. There's been a general mainstream lagging of confidence, and that's caused a surge in gold. But Bitcoin is running much harder than gold. Real 56% on average ARR for the past nearly 5 years. More than double the Mag 7. That's more than about double the S&P. You've got gold, a little bit of a surge starting to catch up, but gold's still underperforming the S&P, and real estate less. This is an important chart. Here's what this chart is telling you. The cost of equity is 13%. That means that if a company is capitalized on gold, real estate, bonds, soybeans, oil, there is only one asset that a company in the world can hold that you can capitalize on that is higher than the cost of equity, and that is Bitcoin. And so you see the explosion in Bitcoin treasury companies is because now that the world's recognized a digital commodity, they also recognize it beats the cost of equity. That means that every public company, in theory, should recapitalize on Bitcoin, because when they sell equity, they're actually generating profits. They're creating an accretive transaction for their shareholders, right? The world is waking up to this. So here's an interesting thing. We are now at an inflection point. We have all the information to know Bitcoin is winning, and yet the majority, 99.8% of the capital in the world, still pretends and acts like it isn't. Most is still oblivious. You know something the rest of the world has not yet acknowledged, and yet it couldn't be clearer to all of us in this room. There's a monetary revolution afoot. A revolution in economic thinking. It's spreading everywhere in the world. It's fueled by the digital transformation of the capital markets that you see manifested in all of these companies and all of these securities and all of this Bitcoin by investors than nearly all of us thought a year ago, right? We were both, Metaplanet goes from 10 million to $1 billion, and I was ready to declare victory. I thought, that's great, that's 100x. And then they surged to 8 billion. Let's give Metaplanet a hand. It's amazing. Inflection point, ignition point, escape velocity. The work's done. The power's flowing. And there's no off switch. Satoshi's fire is now unstoppable, right? The network is unstoppable. Thank you. Satoshi's point is the Schelling point of global money. We can now see, you can see, I can see, the rest of the world is beginning to see that in fact there is an inversion and there's a transformation. This network doesn't need me anymore. This network doesn't need anyone anymore. It's going to continue to grow, and no one can stop it. And so with that, with the help of all that information, I'm going to now share my Bitcoin prophecy. It's going to be volatile. And so you're going to see a volatility, and it's going to damp over time, but you've got to be prepared for the volatility, for the surges and the drawdowns, the good days, the bad days. This is Bitcoin's annualized return looking back a decade, looking forward 2 decades. You can see that the network was growing faster when it's small. That's totally rational. It's now in the mid-50s. What do I expect? I expect it will continue to grow exponentially, but as it approaches hundreds of trillions of dollars, it will decelerate to the point where it's growing about 21% a year. Now, how does that compare to the S&P? It'll be growing faster. In 20 years, it's still going to be the best idea. It's still going to be the most lucrative capital asset a company can hold. It's still going to be durable, vital. There will not be a better investment in the year 2046. And I think it's very important to understand that Bitcoin's trending toward the performance of the best capital assets in the world, in the conventional world, which are like, Mag 7 digital monopolies mixed into an index. It's trending toward it, but it will never reach it. And it will never perform at that level because it's always going to be better. It's always going to be more useful. It's always going to be less risky. It's always going to have the counterparty risk of a company stripped away. There's never going to be a CEO to subpoena. There's never going to be a labor force. There's never going to be the challenge of the supply chain. It's never going to have a tariff on it. It's going to be pure digital energy, pure economic energy. By then, it will be moving at the speed of light on layer 2s, on layer 3s. It'll be moving 10 million times a second. It'll be trading between billions and billions of nodes and billions of other nodes. There's going to be nothing else to compete with it. It will be the most valuable thing, performing the best. You're not going to want to sell it in 21 years. You're just going to wish that you had acquired more of it. And here's the volatility. Looking back, volatility, okay, it's 80, 90 vol, 100 vol. Today it's the mid-50s, the mid-40s. What do I expect? Well, this is kind of very straightforward. The volatility is going to also dampen as the asset class grows, as the structure matures. As the options markets come on, when the banks embrace Bitcoin and they'll give you a loan, the volatility will damp. When it's fully banked, when it's fully optioned, when the mainstream investors are invested in it, the volatility will damp. But the volatility of the S&P is the VIX at 16. Bitcoin's going to be 21. Bitcoin's always going to be more volatile because it's more useful, because it's more pure. Right? And because it's more leverageable, because you'll have more capabilities and you'll be able to do more with it everywhere in the world. It will be raw economic energy, and that's okay. Volatility is vitality. So now you have a future: $21 million, 21 ARR, 21 vol. This is the important part of the presentation. What will you do? First of all, you have a 21-year head start. You know something 99.8% of the capital in the world does not yet know, right? You know that this thing is unstoppable. You know that everybody needs it, and very few people understand it. That's the most valuable information in the world. If I told you Bitcoin was going to 21 million tomorrow, that's not useful. It's too late. I'm giving you something much more valuable. I'm giving you 21 years to leverage that information while everybody else is oblivious, while everybody else is afraid, while everybody else is distracted. Use the destiny of everybody in your bloodline to change the destiny of your community, everything you hold dear, to change the political course of human history. You can do it. You have the opportunity because you have the most valuable information in the world. And the question is, how are you going to do it? What is your Bitcoin strategy? You need a 21-year plan, right? If you have the vision, but you don't have a plan, you're just dreaming, right? You're not going to get there by talking about it. You need clarity. You need to know what's going to happen. You need courage. For the next 21 years, buy 50,000 US dollars worth of Bitcoin each year, increase your savings by 5% a year, and then hold the Bitcoin. That's a strategy. What happens if you do that? Your investment's going to gradually increment by the 5% over the top, and you rebalance it that way, you'll have 28 million. And if you just buy the Bitcoin and don't think about the rest, you'll have 40. So the difference between conventional and Bitcoin is a factor of 10x. That's the DCA strategy. What's the next strategy? Leverage. Borrow $1 million up front. Pay less than 10% interest if you can. You're leveraging your future. You're going to tap your underutilized assets. If you've got to sell your chairs, sell your chairs. Mortgage your house. Use capital intelligently. Ask your family for a loan. Approach your grandfather, your grandmother, your father, your sister, your uncle, your brother. Ask your friends next. Don't pay off your student loans. Definitely don't pay off your mortgage. Okay, what happens? Well, that's a single jolt of energy, one time. It's worth $190 million to you. $1 million of US dollar value. You end up with approximately 14 Bitcoin, and you can see the recycling of the leverage is a very powerful technique here. What about a financial strategy? Let's just take that a little bit further. What if I just recycle 15% leverage? Not 5%, 15%. You can still survive at 80%. On the y-axis is the interest rate you're paying. On the x-axis is the duration of the credit instrument. If you're borrowing money for less than 5 years, 4 years, you're a gambler. When you're borrowing short-term money, you may get liquidated, especially when you're borrowing money for 4 weeks or 4 days or 4 hours. This is a little bit of a risky zone. When you're borrowing money that costs you 20 or 30% interest in short duration, you are a loan shark victim. Okay, this is suicidal. You're going to get your legs broken. Do not do that. When you borrow money at expensive rates for long periods of time, you are an indentured servant. You're a debt slave. You're going to work your entire life. You're going to have nothing to show for it. That does not make sense. What you want to do is borrow money for 10 years or longer, and you'd like to get the interest rate below 10%. So 10-year duration, less than 10%. If you get to a 30-year loan with 3 or 4% interest, you're a financial genius. You know what that is? That's mortgaging your house 2 years ago to buy Bitcoin. Right? That's the thing that all the non-coiners made fun of us for. But if you were smart enough to take a 30-year or 20-year mortgage at 3 or 4% and buy Bitcoin, you are a financial genius. Not complicated. You're swapping 3 or 4% cost of capital for a 29% return on the capital. What about equity? Okay, so you have a company. If you sell 90% of the company at 3 times NAV, you just cashed out. You made a lot of money, you retired. You're going to sit in the rocking chair, you're rich. Congratulations. right? That is your exit strategy. If you basically sold 50, 60% of your company at 3, 4, 5 times NAV, you're a racehorse, you're going to be racing, you'll have a jockey, that's good, you're in business with other people. If you manage to sell 20% at 7 times NAV, you're looking like a unicorn. People are going to write books about you, you're going to be the cover of magazines. And if you can actually sell less than 10% of your company at a 7, 8, 9 times NAV, you're Pegasus, okay? You're a superstar, a shooting star, right? They're going to write entire books and teach courses about you, right? So that red line is the no-go line. If you're selling equity below 1 times NAV, you're diluting your own shareholders, right? That's awful. And so you've got to stay above that. Now, some common objections. You're going to hear these objections. You're going to hear more of them from all of your, wealthy financial advisors or wealthy friends that are no-coiners, and they're going to say things like, hey, it's too late. It's too late, you did it, but, if I'd done it back in 2013 or done it in 2020 or done it whenever, it's too late. But here's what I have to say. Henry Ford decided to harness fire 1 million years after human beings discovered fire. It was not too late. It's not too late to use the wheel. It's not too late to master explosives. It's not too late. If you need a gun and someone invented a gun 500 years ago, you're not going to say, well, I guess it's too late for me. Or how about English? Someone learned English before you. It's too late. It's an old language. I guess it's not that useful anymore. Or to fly. I'm not the first person to fly. There's another company in my town. They installed electricity. It's too late for my company. After all, someone else installed electricity first. I don't really need electricity. It's too late. Or the mobile phone. Too late to use a computer. Too late to get on the internet, too late to go to space. It's too late to buy a Bitcoin. Here's what they're missing. Bitcoin's technology. It's not a speculation. It's the ignorant speculators that think it's too late because they don't understand that it's digital energy, it's digital technology. It's never too late to master technology. And I would leave you with the thought, it's never too late to do the right thing. I mean, it's very simple. Second big objection, it's a Ponzi scheme, it's tulip bulbs, blah, 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 it seems too good to be true, or a paradigm shift. Then in fact, it is different. And the point here is Bitcoin is different, that's why it matters. People that tell you it's not different, they don't understand it, don't be swayed by them. And now, I'm going to end with some final thoughts. There's a saying in the American West, the cowards never started, the weak died along the way. In this case, to never start means to never invest in Bitcoin. If you have your money and it's invested in not Bitcoin, you never started. You have to put your capital into Bitcoin. And then the weak die along the way. Okay, well, you did a stupid deal with a loan shark and you broke your legs because you borrowed money for 4 weeks at 37%. Okay, don't do that. Right? It's not an easy journey, but neither is getting in a wooden ship and sailing across the Atlantic an easy journey. The best way to predict the future is to create it. Everybody in this room can watch or wait, or you can go and create the future. Metaplanet is creating a future in Japan. H1's creating a future in Sweden. Smarter Web is creating a future. BTC Prague is creating a future. Everybody here is creating the future. Build a machine, put energy in it, turn the crank, harness the energy. 21 is the winning hand. You're sitting at a blackjack table and you get a king and an ace. You can't lose. We've got the winning hand, 21 in 21 years. You know it? There's only one way to lose, and that's not to play the game. You develop the ability to see the future 60 seconds in advance, and you're sitting at the blackjack table and you see blackjack coming, bet large. Right? That's how you win. You have to play the game, you have to bet. You have a winning hand. Play it. Embrace the volatility. Volatility is Satoshi's gift to the faithful. If Bitcoin was not volatile, people with more money than you, more power than you, would outbid you for the Bitcoin. You couldn't have it. The only reason you have the opportunity, the only reason that you have a 21-year head start is because it's volatile. At the point that it becomes completely predictable, Warren Buffett will say, oh yeah, we get it. We just bought all the Bitcoin. The Bitcoin went to 20 million a coin. Your opportunity is gone. You don't actually get rich if this thing doesn't stay volatile. In chaos lies opportunity. It's not the bug, it's the feature. Revel in it. When you're on a ship tossed by a turbulent sea and you get seasick, what do they tell you to do? Focus on the horizon. Look out. What is the horizon? The horizon is 21 years, and what's on the horizon? $21 million. And don't pay attention to what's happening in the here and now. Look out. It will calm you. You won't do something you're going to regret later. Hodl, what does it mean? It means ignore the noise. It means the noise dilutes your performance, it distracts your attention, it detracts from your quality of life. The average middle-class person at that point. 48 Bitcoin makes you a billionaire in 21 years if you can get to 48 Bitcoin. And trust me, you're going to want to get to 48 Bitcoin if you can. Why? This is the chance to build your legacy, right? Thinking beyond yourself, you can do it for your family, do it for your children. If you don't do it for your children, do it for your community, do it for your way of life. At the end of the day, do it for everybody in this room. Do it for the people that took this journey with you, that bled, that sacrificed, that took risk, that fought for this thing that you have an opportunity to share in. This is your legacy. Leave that. If you don't leave it to your children, leave it to the Bitcoin community.